In the dangerous world of the underground, it's rare for women to rise to the top. For Black women, the path is even tougher, filled with obstacles that seem impossible to overcome. Yet some remarkable women have defied the odds and made their mark in history. They weren't just survivors, they built empires. Let's dive into the journeys of two powerful queenpins, Jemiker Thompson and Thelma Wright icons, whose impact still echoes today. If these names blew your mind, drop a comment below and tell us which female boss you think is the most ruthless. Ever heard of a powerful woman running the mafia? If yes, type 1 in the comments. If not, hit us with a 0. And hey, if you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss the next jaw-dropping secret from the criminal underworld. Don't forget to turn on that notification bell because what's coming next is even scarier. In the 1980s, Los Angeles was swept up in the crack epidemic, a time when money flowed faster than broken dreams. Jemiker Thompson, a young girl who had once watched her family lose everything after being evicted, vowed never to feel powerless again. As a teenager, she worked tirelessly saving money for her boyfriend, later her husband Anthony Daff Mosley, a small-time dealer. But Jemiker wasn't satisfied with pocket change. When crack cocaine exploded onto the scene, she and Daff built a multi-million-dollar empire, becoming a name that commanded respect on the streets. Tragedy struck in 1982 when Daff was murdered, leaving Jemiker a young widow with a small child and an empire to protect. While many would have given up, Jemiker rose stronger. From a grieving single mother, she transformed into the queenpin of LA's underworld. By the age of 20, she was running a vast distribution network, laundering money through a high-end hair extension salon that catered to celebrities. With her sharp mind and bold moves, she stayed steps ahead of her rivals, and even the FBI, who nicknamed her the Queenpin for her uncanny ability to keep everything under control. But every empire has its weakness. In 1993, Jemiker's love for her son led her back to LA to attend his graduation. There, federal agents arrested her. Facing 25 years behind bars, she took a plea deal and received 15. Behind prison walls, Jemiker found a new light through faith. When she was released in 2005, she was no longer the queen of the streets. She founded the ministry, Second Chance, wrote a book, and began sharing her story as a powerful cautionary tale. Now at 60, Jemiker lives quietly in Los Angeles with her new husband. But the streets haven't forgotten. The old connections, the survival instincts, they still feel like part of her. Though Jemiker is now a preacher, whispers remain that the crown of the Queenpin may not have been laid to rest forever. Jemiker Thompson's journey stands as a testament to the strength and complexity of a woman who rose above adversity. But she wasn't the only one. In Philadelphia, another queen emerged from the ashes of tragedy, leaving behind a legacy all her own. In the late 80s, Philadelphia was ravaged by the crack epidemic, touching nearly every household. Thelma Wright, a wife and mother, was suddenly thrust into a nightmare when her husband Jackie Wright, a major figure in Philly's underworld, was murdered. Her world collapsed, but she had no time to grieve. With 2 children to raise, Thelma stepped into the world Jackie left behind, not out of ambition, but out of a fierce need to protect her family. Thelma learned fast and quickly, became a force to be reckoned with. From an ordinary woman, she rose to become the Queenpin of Philadelphia, running a sophisticated network and controlling the flow of money throughout the city. Every move she made was calculated, ensuring her empire stayed intact amid constant danger. But through it all, Thelma never lost sight of her family. Every decision, every step she took was guided by her determination to protect her children from the very world she was now a part of. Thelma Wright was once one of the most powerful female drug lords in America, running a cocaine and heroin operation that brought in $400,000 a month in the early 90s. She didn't just follow in her late husband's footsteps, she rewrote the rules, building a loyal yet ruthless distribution network. After narrowly surviving an assassination attempt in 1991, Thelma chose to step away, seeking peace and safety for her son. Still, many believe she continued to quietly advise from the shadows, a living legend whose influence lingers in Philadelphia's underworld. Born in 1930 into a poor family in West Virginia, Doris Payne didn't start out as a notorious thief. Her childhood was filled with games of Miss Lady dressing up as an elegant woman to escape the harsh reality of poverty and racial discrimination. But those fantasy games would soon become the blueprint for a daring life. As a young teenager, Doris committed her first theft, a diamond reportedly stolen to help her mother escape an abusive father. From that moment on, she realized she had a unique gift-charm intelligence and the ability to embody any role with flawless precision. Doris Payne didn't just steal jewelry, she became royalty to do it. By exploiting class and racial biases in luxury boutiques, she orchestrated flawless performances. She would try on dozens of items, feign confusion, and then accidentally misplace a piece only to vanish with the real diamond during a split-second lapse in attention. It was deception elevated to an art form executed with elegance and precision. With 32 aliases, 11 social security numbers, and a rap sheet longer than most people's life stories, Doris traveled from Tokyo to Paris even once, leaping from a moving train in Switzerland to escape. Even when captured, she outwitted the system, like the time she used nail clippers to remove a diamond while in custody in Monaco. In 1974, Doris walked into the Cartier jewelry store in Monte Carlo, not to buy, but to steal. When she left, she had vanished with a 10-carat diamond ring worth $500,000, hiding the stone in her waistband and tossing the ring's empty setting into the Mediterranean as casually as if it were spare change. And that wasn't her only heist. For over 60 years, Doris stole millions of dollars in jewelry across the globe, from Europe to the US, armed with nothing more than quick wit and incredible disguise skills. Her life played out like something straight out of Ocean's 11, only it was all real. And the most astonishing part, even at 94 years old, Doris still hadn't stopped. No social media, no flashy boasts, just whispered legends about one of the world's most legendary thieves. A petite woman who made luxury brands tremble every time she walked through their doors. In the 2010s, Doris became a living legend, even starring in a documentary about her own life. But ironically, her story didn't end there. She continued to get arrested, most notably for shoplifting at Walmart in 2017 at the age of 87, all while wearing an ankle monitor from a previous conviction. Due to her declining health and the overcrowded prison system, she appeared to finally retreat into the shadows. But for a professional like Doris, stepping back never meant pulling the plug. At 94, though frail and forgetful, her legacy remains a textbook example of boldness and precision. And in the underworld, legends don't disappear, they evolve. Is she passing down her techniques to a new generation? Whether sipping tea in a quiet nursing home or quietly advising from behind the scenes, Doris Payne's story isn't over. She's not just a name, she's a ghost in the system. Have you ever heard the name Doris Payne? A legendary queenpin who once made the entire jewelry world tremble, armed with nothing but a small purse and a charming smile. If you think female mafia bosses only exist in movies, comment movie. But if you believe they're still hiding among us, type real, and don't forget, hit that like button if you found this story intriguing, share it to spread the word, and subscribe to the channel to keep discovering the world's most powerful, mysterious, and dangerous underground figures. Delronda Hood, also known as Big 50, is one of Detroit's most feared female gangsters. Born in East Detroit as the eldest sibling, she had a passion for fashion from an early age. By 15, she became a mother, and by 18, she was fully immersed in a life of drugs and gangs. Realizing her looks and maturity could make her money fast, she embraced the street life. Nicknamed Big 50 and dubbed the Scorpio Queen, she made millions from drug trafficking, expanding her reach far and wide. Despite being hunted by the police, Big 50 kept building her criminal empire. Her past struggles didn't break her. They became her purpose and her power. There are names that send chills down your spine, and Sylvia Nunn is one of them. Born in 1962 in Compton, she wasn't just a gangster. She was vengeance incarnate, a 16-year-old girl who turned the pain of losing her brother into a deadly mission. When Marcus, a founding member of the Luers Park Peru Bloods, was ambushed by the Crips, Sylvia put down her books, picked up a .38 revolver, and stepped into the streets dressed in men's clothes, ready for war. Sylvia Nunn, known on the streets as Rambo, was a notorious hitwoman for the Peru Bloods in the late 1970s. Trained in marksmanship by her father, a former boxer, she disguised herself as a man to ambush rivals, then vanished like an innocent woman. But when crack addiction took hold of her life, Sylvia became numb, ruthless, and more terrifying than ever. By 1991, in a desperate move to avoid a life sentence, she betrayed her gang, a decision that later cost her brother his life. Sylvia fled to Las Vegas, married a former police chief, and started anew. Yet for someone like her, silence isn't surrender, it's often the prelude to an unpredictable return. Unlike many kingpins who came from the streets, Perion Roberts grew up in a middle-class family in Huntsville, Alabama. She attended Catholic school, enrolled as a pre-law major at Alabama A&M University, and even competed in beauty pageants. But by the late 1980s, everything changed. She put her textbooks aside and stepped into the cocaine trade, quickly building an empire worth up to $2 million a month, and according to her, that was a conservative estimate. Few could have imagined that an educated woman with no criminal record could orchestrate high-level drug deals like a strategic genius. Dressed like a successful businesswoman, she even paid taxes and sponsored Christmas charity dinners, crafting the perfect image of a model citizen, fooling law enforcement at every turn. But behind that polished exterior was a massive drug network with 70 dealers spread across Alabama. Perion sourced her product wholesale from Mexico and flipped it for huge profits. Still, the wheels of justice eventually turned. In 2004, she was sentenced to 99 years in prison, but negotiated it down to 21. Then something extraordinary happened. Just 2 years later, she was granted a full pardon, an almost unheard-of outcome in Alabama's tough legal system. Perion insists it was foretold by God and calls the moment her prophecy fulfilled. After her release, she changed her name to Hard, became a media figure through the show American Gangster Trap Queens on BET, published a memoir titled Beyond a Dream, and began advocating for criminal justice reform. But at 60, in an era dominated by high-tech crime, many doubt that someone who once outsmarted the entire system is now merely a bystander. Perhaps Parian is quietly mentoring a new generation, because if there's one thing she's mastered, it's this never giving up on reinventing the dream her way. Picture Kansas City in 2007 on national television. The face of a 24-year-old woman appears alongside Osama bin Laden. That woman was Shawntae Henderson. It was no coincidence she had landed on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list. Born in 1982 in the tough housing projects of Charlie Parker Square, Shawntae grew up in a brutal world where survival meant choosing a side early on. Shawntae Henderson became a nightmare for authorities after she was accused of fatally shooting DeAndre Parker at a gas station in 2006, then landing her on the FBI's Most Wanted list. Considered a leader in a gang war that left behind over 50 shootings, Shawntae didn't surrender. Instead, she calmly said, "I just didn't want to get shot." In 2008, she took a plea deal to avoid a life sentence, but reoffended in 2010 and was sentenced to 17 years in federal prison. Even behind bars, many believe she still holds sway, possibly preparing for a powerful comeback. Because in the underworld, retirement is often just another word for pulling the strings from the shadows. Charmaine Roman, born in Jamaica, lived such a double life that even her own family had no idea she was running a marijuana smuggling ring from Mexico to Florida. Disguised as a suburban mom, she laundered money through Las Vegas casinos and used postal services to move her product. A $15,000 lottery win once triggered a break-in investigation, but she calmly testified like nothing was wrong. She even owned a company called Sure Thing Investments Affront that hosted only one event. When she was arrested in 2013, police uncovered a trove of fake documents, revealing she'd been evading the law for nearly a decade. Though she was once held by ICE and faced deportation battles, her true identity remained a mystery that baffled U.S. authorities. As of 2025, her fate is still unclear. With skills in false identities, money laundering, and intricate cover stories, Roman has become an ideal ghost advisor in the age of crypto crime. Many believe she's still quietly orchestrating operations because in the underworld, people like Charmaine don't disappear. They just change where they play the game. Picture New York City in the mid-2010s, a world where penthouses, private jets, and Louis Vuitton bags weren't just status symbols, they were tools of the trade. In that world, Aisha Hall, a woman from Queens, turned financial fraud into a form of art. She didn't just scam banks, she convinced them she belonged to the system. With flawless, fake documents, front companies, and bold charisma, she moved millions of dollars like pieces on a chessboard. Before turning 30, Aisha was living like a boss, $10 million in assets Wall Street style, and a network so complex it left federal agents scrambling to untangle every thread. But every empire has its weakness, and for Aisha, it was greed. In 2014, after leaving behind a trail of fake tax returns, shell companies, and messy bank documents, the federal government swooped in. Not in the shadows, but in a grand takedown worthy of a Martin Scorsese finale, lights, cameras, and a public downfall that played out like cinematic justice. She was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison, a term so shocking it even stunned veteran prosecutors. But prison didn't break Aisha, it reinvented her. Behind bars, she became a myth, her story featured on BET's My True Crime Story. When she was released in 2024, Aisha reemerged as a cultural icon, fan pages on Instagram, non-stop podcast interviews, and a new image as the Queen of Reinvention. But the truth is, old habits die hard. The same charm that once made bankers nod at forged documents has now been repackaged into online courses called the Financial Freedom Blueprint. And don't be fooled by the reformed image those crypto projects Aisha is now promoting. Make the perfect front for moving digital money without catching the eye of regulators. In 2025, she returned to New York, a city now driven by fintech scams, junk NFTs, and deepfakes that have completely replaced the old paper trails she once used to get rich. And really, who better to guide the next generation of criminals than someone who once outsmarted the federal government itself? The BET episodes about her still go viral on TikTok, where Gen Z hails Aisha as the queen of the comeback. But is it just coincidence or a carefully orchestrated reboot? Rumors are swirling that she's reconnecting with former associates, those who still live by her golden rule: if you're gonna do it, don't do it small. In the age of AI, deepfakes, and blockchain hacks, the psychological manipulation skills Aisha Hall once used to con CEOs and banks have become more valuable than ever. Imagine her coaching hackers to mimic executives' voices or write flawless internal emails, tactics she mastered long before ChatGPT even existed. There may be no hard evidence, but Aisha's LinkedIn preaches transparency, while her YouTube is filled with teary-eyed apology videos. Yet when Sam Bankman-Fried becomes a meme and Elizabeth Holmes lands a podcast deal, repentance itself starts to look like just another brand. On paper, Aisha has turned her life around. But in the shadows where crypto wallets and the dark web thrive, many believe she didn't serve 10 years just to come back and sell CBD gummies. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you found this story captivating, don't forget to click on one of the videos now showing on your screen to uncover more chilling secrets and unbelievable figures from the underworld. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and we'll see you in the next investigation.